Leviticus 19, verses 23 through 25. This is part of tomorrow's scripture reading, so sorry I'm jumping ahead, but hopefully when you read it tomorrow, if you don't have a copy of that, it's on the back table. Hopefully when you read the few chapters of Leviticus tomorrow and you run across this idea, maybe it gives you something extra to think about. Leviticus 19, starting in verse 23. This is in the midst of a bunch of different laws God is giving the Israelites, and here's one that he throws in there. Now, when you enter the land and you plant all kinds of trees for food, then you shall count their fruit as forbidden. For 3 years it shall be forbidden to you. It shall not be eaten. And in the 4th year all its fruit shall be holy, an offering of praise to the Lord. In the 5th year you may eat its fruit, so that your yield may increase for you. I am the Lord your God. Why? Why did God say that? And when you're reading Leviticus, a lot of times we're reading this law that doesn't bind us anymore. And so we read something like that and say, well, at least God didn't restrict fruit nowadays, and I can plant a tree and eat from it immediately. But I want you to think about why God would say something like that. What's the principle he's trying to communicate? The deeper principle that lasts, even though the specific law might not. I want you to imagine you're an Israelite peasant for a minute. Right? You have enough food, but you decide you're going to plant a tree for something extra. You want some apples in addition to all the grain that you're getting. So you plant an apple tree. Okay? And so the first year you see it and it has a couple pieces of fruit on it, and you go out and you can't take those, and so you pass on by. That's like starting something in February of 2024. Do you remember back that far? It's like starting something then, and then right now you're reflecting back on it and you can't benefit anything from it yet. Okay, give it another year. Second year comes around. Go back to February of 2023. 2 years ago, you planted something, and now you go out and there's some fruit on the tree and you can't take it. Third year comes around. February of 2022. That was half a year before I got here. It's been a while. And even in the third year, you're not allowed to benefit from the tree at all. Fourth year comes around, February of 2021. You started a project way back then and you still can't get anything from it now. No, now you get to go out to the tree and you get to pick all the fruit and you get to enjoy how beautiful it looks and then give it to somebody else. It's praise offering for the Lord. It's not for you. No, you get it in year 5. It's like starting something in February of 2020. It's before COVID happened. And you're only just now seeing any benefit from that work. What is God trying to do? Is he just trying to make people's lives miserable? I don't think that's it. What's he trying to do? He's trying to teach people to wait. You can see a lesson in God's provision here. He'll provide for them even if they're not allowed to access every last bit of food. You see a lesson about God's work here. You dedicate it to the Lord because he's the one working behind the scenes. I may have planted and I might have watered, but God gives the increase, as it were. But I think the primary lesson he's communicating is that God's blessings are ahead. God's blessings are coming, but it's going to take a while for them to get to you. God's looking for the type of person who's willing to plant a tree and fertilize it for 5 years and water it for 5 years and be willing to wait until it's time. Just because you start something right now does not mean you're going to see the benefit of it right now. Just because you start on a project right now doesn't mean it's going to be perfect tomorrow. Just because you begin a job right now doesn't mean that you're going to excel at it the next week. No. God is looking for people who are willing to plant the seed and then wait. Evangelism's not an overnight process. Pretty sure you're aware of that. Sometimes it takes a few weeks or months or years, or you might not even see it in your lifetime. Are you willing to plant the seed and wait for a delayed reward? That's the kind of person that God promises a blessing on. I know the Bible reading in Leviticus is not always the most engaging. And sometimes you read a bunch of laws and you sit back and say, I don't really know what I just got from that. But those people who have studied the Bible consistently for a few years, they can look back and see that they were getting something the whole time. It's rewarding after a while. Lots of people don't come to church anymore because it's not that engaging or doesn't really enthrall them all the time. And it's not very interesting to them sometimes, or whatever problem comes up. Okay? But it's rewarding after a while. Are you the type of person who's willing to plant a tree and then wait 5 years to get anything from it? Are you the type of person who's willing to wait on the Lord to fulfill his blessings? We don't have a law on a fruit tree anymore, but we do still have the same principle of patience towards God. Because God promises that the things that you invest in him today, the things that you sow for him, you will reap them in due time. So if there's anything we can do to inspire you towards patience and perseverance in the here and now, I know it's difficult, but if there's anything we can do to get you invested in God right now, you'll see the benefits in a while if you just stick with it. Come talk to me. I'll be right here as we all stand and sing the song.